The NFC Championship game is set, and what a compelling matchup it is. The Detroit Lions just beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will be headed to the Bay Area to play the 49ers next Sunday, 3:30 Pacific time. Fox, NFC Championship. The 49ers are playing their fourth one in 5 years. And this time, Brock Purdy is going to be the headlining quarterback on one side of it. We've been talking a lot about him already today. Against the Bay Area native, Marin Catholic alum, Cal alum, Jared Goff on the other side. All I have to say is I have a lot more to say, by the way, but all I have to say to start this, what a compelling matchup. Detroit has come from talking about biting people's kneecaps off to going 12-5 in the regular season, winning a game against the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford. That was obviously symbolic because it was Stafford and Goff who had been traded for each other. And now the Lions have beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were a mediocre football team, but who did make it to the divisional round of the playoffs. The Lions move on to the Bay Area to face the 49ers. The winner will go to the Super Bowl. The 49ers will be significant favorites in this game. As soon as I get a number, then I'll let you know. Maybe Mike can let me know the number as soon as he knows. But I will say that the 49ers need to be wary. The Lions are good in the trenches. They're good against the run with a number one run defense. And they're good run offense. Number 4 run offense with Jahmyr Gibbs headlining that show. So regardless of what you think about Jared Goff, the Lions can pound the rock. The Lions have a good offensive line. And the 49ers, this is DVOA, by the way, on the screen. The 49ers are the number 15 run defense DVOA. They're number 26 run defense EPA per play. The 49ers have really struggled against the run. We saw them struggle against the run yesterday against the Green Bay Packers. There is a school of thought that says that the Lions can run even better than the Green Bay Packers. Although Green Bay had turned things up over the back half of the season, their splits were really impressive. I think from a quarterback standpoint, Jared Goff is not as dangerous as Jordan Love. So the 49ers will have an easier time from that standpoint. But Jared Goff can still throw the ball accurately. He can still run a play action game. He still has weapons downfield. And the Detroit Lions are playing with a whole lot of fire. They're playing with a whole lot of emotion. The defense has gotten a lot better for Detroit. I put up the DVOA splits not too long ago up on Twitter. And against Tampa Bay, the 49ers would have been facing a decidedly mediocre team that they had already beaten by 3 possessions this season. Detroit, well, they're number 5 offense and number 13 defense. Last season, Detroit narrowly missed the playoffs because their offense had surged, but their defense was still in the lower 20s. Their defense wasn't quite good enough to get the job done. This season, the Detroit Lions have improved the defense to least mediocrity, number 13 DVOA. Additions like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the former Philadelphia defensive back, are part of that unit. And we're going to get to see C.J. Gardner-Johnson take on Deebo Samuel. That's one of the matchups that I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that Deebo Samuel can play. We're going to get an injury update on him at some point, either today or tomorrow. But there had been a war of words between C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Deebo Samuel dating back to last season because Deebo Samuel was talking some crap about Philadelphia. Samuel had been vindicated in what he had said about the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously, when the 49ers blew them out this season with Brock Purdy healthy. But Gardner-Johnson signed as a free agent with the Detroit Lions. Now he's playing. Now we're going to see if Deebo Samuel plays this week, and maybe we will finally get to see that score fully settled. That being said, the Detroit Lions have been better on defense this year. They've spearheaded it with a better run defense. We know that the 49ers love to run the football, but we also know the 49ers are eminently balanced, especially with how well Brock Purdy played down the stretch yesterday. That final drive for Brock Purdy immediately stuff a 49ers legend, made those 4 elite throws for the 49ers in their narrative-shattering win over the Green Bay Packers. And now the 49ers, well, they can't breathe easy, but I do think that they're more likely to win this NFC Championship game than they were likely to beat the Green Bay Packers, and they're likely to win both of these games, right? They're the favorites. They're the number 1 seed. But the Packers gave the 49ers a true run for their money with the number 2 rated offense since week 9. Jordan Love had been on fire. That team was red hot. The 49ers won an ugly, gritty game against the Packers, and now they're going to be coming off that win against the Detroit Lions team that, let's be honest, really struggled against a relatively mediocre Tampa Bay team. Number 20 offense, number 14 defense DVOA for Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield and his moxie, they almost came into Detroit and pulled off an upset. They hung in there, but the Lions were just better. They're better up front. They're better in the run game. Tampa Bay ran surprisingly well against the really good Detroit run defense in the first half. That's definitely going to, if we include the playoffs, is going to hurt Detroit's DVOA score. So I think the 49ers are looking at Detroit and saying, hey, we can run against these guys. I think they're saying we can move the ball against these guys. Perhaps the most key thing about next week, and I'm going to put this up on the screen, is this. Forecast for the NFC Championship game, 68 degrees and dry. The 49ers don't have any rain in the forecast between them and the Lombardi Trophy. The biggest impediment to Brock Purdy so far in his young NFL career has been a wet football. It's happened twice, against Cleveland in Week 6 and yesterday against the Green Bay Packers, divisional round of the playoffs. Both times things have gone similarly. Brock Purdy has struggled with misfires over the course of the game, but then he's gotten his stuff together by the final drive, a do-or-die drive, and he's led the 49ers downfield and put them into position to win. That happened in Cleveland. Jake Moody missed the kick. That happened yesterday. Christian McCaffrey punched it in for a touchdown. So the 49ers, I won't say kryptonite, but one of Brock Purdy's biggest thorns, biggest issues so far has been dealing with a wet football. That is a problem for future seasons that the 49ers are going to have to think about and say, okay, hey, how do we figure this out in case it's raining again? Because at some point it invariably will be raining. Do they find Brock Purdy a special customized glove? I don't know what they do, and I don't care right now because that's in the future. For now, though, the 49ers can win a Lombardi Trophy without having to worry about the rain anymore, in all likelihood. Right now, it's not in the forecast for Sunday, and that is a week away. 3:30 p.m. is the kickoff at Levi's Stadium. So they have a clear path to this. It's an indoor track in Las Vegas if the 49ers beat the Lions and make it to the Super Bowl. We have only one variable that has slowed down Brock Purdy this season outside of that Baltimore Ravens defense on Christmas. And the Lions don't bring the Ravens defense. The Lions are rated number 13 defensively, and it is that wet football, and the 49ers shouldn't have to deal with it next Sunday. But I am excited to see just the emotions behind the Jared Goff return to the Bay Area. He was the quarterback for the Rams for a few years there at the start of the Kyle Shanahan era. The Rams ultimately moved on from Jared Goff. I think a big turning point for them was the Super Bowl at the end of the 2018 season that the Rams lost to the Patriots, where it seemed that Bill Belichick and his defense had really managed to stump Jared Goff. Ultimately, we saw the 2021 upgrade for the Rams from Goff to Matthew Stafford. Stafford is obviously the better quarterback, but the Lions had the better team than the Rams this year, and they're able to squeak by them in the wild card round of the playoffs. That was such an emotionally uplifting victory for the team of Detroit, for the city of Detroit, and specifically for the person, Jared Goff, as he made the full circle comeback. He had been discarded by the Rams, came back to the Lions, and really, I think, embodies the ethos of that city and that football team, bouncing back. We go back to what Dan Campbell said. I'm going to get Mike to send me the link of this video. When he was introduced as Detroit's head coach, and it was a big time chip on our shoulder, let's pick ourselves up off the ground speech that Dan Campbell gave to the media. And he said that he wanted the Lions to embody the city of Detroit, obviously wanted their quarterback to embody that spirit of Detroit. Jared Goff comes from Marin County, sunny Marin County, California weather, went to Cal, but the West Coast kid has been able to earn his stripes, his blue-collar stripes in Detroit. I want to get that file so I could play the video of Dan Campbell setting the table for what the Lions have done here over the past few years. So this is a tremendously compelling matchup between the 49ers and the Detroit Lions coming up on Sunday. I don't think that 49ers Tampa Bay would have been all that compelling. The 49ers had already beaten Tampa Bay. They haven't played Detroit yet. It's the last remaining strong NFC team that the 49ers have yet to vanquish. They're going to have to vanquish them on their way to Super Bowl 58. There are 3 remaining teams in the AFC. All have final boss potential. The Baltimore Ravens, who have beaten the 49ers, the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, the ex-49ers fan who grew up in Firebaugh, and the Kansas City Chiefs, the nemesis of the 49ers, who beat them in Super Bowl 54 and also beat them last season. So we'll see what happens on the other side of the bracket today. Fascinating matchup between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, the Bills and the Chiefs. The winner of that is going to play the Baltimore Ravens. And then the winner of that AFC Championship game, which will happen before next week's NFC Championship game, will head to the Super Bowl. So at the time that the 49ers and the Lions kick off next Sunday, which will be about exactly a week from now. It's about 3:30 p.m. Pacific time right now. So exactly a week from now on Sunday, the 49ers and the Lions will be kicking off. We will know who the Super Bowl opponent for the NFC representative will be. Will it be the Ravens? Will it be the Chiefs? Will it be the Buffalo Bills? That narrow down process is going to be happening right now. I have the video. Let's play this from Dan Campbell. What a compelling matchup, 49ers and Lions. Who's ready for this? Dan Campbell's introductory press conference from, 2 seasons ago.
Team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right. That's going to be the mentality.
That's so good that I got to play it one more time.
So this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right. That's going to be the mentality.
So that's who the 49ers are playing this week. They're playing a scrappy team that has taken the city of Detroit by storm. They hadn't won a playoff game in over 30 years. They finally did last weekend against the Los Angeles Rams. They've now won 2 playoff games. They've advanced to the 2nd NFC title in franchise history. Detroit is hungry. I think they're unquestionably worse than the 49ers, but there is emotion that they can leverage on their side. And it is going to be one hell of a matchup when it comes to the theater of things next week. The uniform matchup should be really good. Detroit's white, silver, and blue uniforms against the 49ers, red and gold uniforms. It's going to be fun at 3:30 with really good weather forecast in the Bay Area. So right now, I know that we're about to kick off with the second game, the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an epic quarterback matchup. This is the kind of stuff that we like to watch. Yesterday, we saw in the narrative-shattering 49ers win, we saw a hell of a quarterback matchup. We saw Brock Purdy against Jordan Love, and Brock Purdy ended up getting the best of it, both in the win column and statistically. If we want to take a look at that, here you go. Brock Purdy, EPA per play, QBR, all above Jordan Love. Brock Purdy was clutch in this game. Jordan Love, not so much. That's been the discussion of today. The narrative-shattering 49ers win featured Purdy delivering a game-winning drive in the rain, which is something that a lot of people thought wouldn't happen. Shanahan posting a true fourth-quarter comeback after his 49ers had been 0-30 when down by 5 points or more entering the fourth quarter. Jake Moody delivering in crunch time. And the 49ers opponent making the same mistakes that a lot of the 49ers critics were ready to roast them over. But it was Jordan Love who was throwing the interceptions last night. 4 elite throws for Brock Purdy in this football game, setting up the NFC title. The on-the-run deep touchdown to George Kittle, the third down elevator to Jennings while getting drilled by Preston Smith, the bullseye dart to Brandon Ayuk on third down, and the 17-yard deep out to Conley ahead of the big scramble late in the game. It was fun stuff for Brock Purdy and the 49ers as they turned things around. Look at the 49ers defensive turnaround yesterday. The adjustments were made, and now they get to apply the same adjustments against the Detroit Lions moving forward. So that was yesterday. This was my article on Christian McCaffrey willing the 49ers into the end zone, guaranteeing a touchdown, delivering on that touchdown with the 39-yarder, and then scoring the winning touchdown. Connecting 49ers present to past is exactly the way to term what happened yesterday. We saw a victory that was similar to what Joe Montana did as a youngster, although Joe Montana was a year older than Brock Purdy when he delivered against the Cowboys in that January 1982 NFC Championship game. But Montana had thrown 3 picks. Yesterday, Purdy actually didn't throw any picks, but he was misfiring, right? He was struggling in that game, but he came back from the dead. He did deliver down the stretch. 6 of 7 with the one incompletion being a drop by George Kittle on that final drive. And that's the kind of stuff that Montana did as a youngster. This is the kind of stuff that Purdy was able to do yesterday. I don't know how it's going to go for Purdy for the rest of his career, but he's sure setting himself up to build a legacy right now. And nobody knew what Joe Montana was going to do on that afternoon at Candlestick Park when he threw the game-winning touchdown to Dwight Clark. But people did know that he overcame a whole lot of adversity, and that's why we watch this sport, to see people overcome adversity and try to build a legacy, try to build something meaningful over the long term. And so far, Brock Purdy's historically hot statistical start, combined with the adversity that he was able to overcome with the help of Christian McCaffrey, who I think is the best player in the National Football League. Well, what we saw yesterday was some stuff that people are going to remember for a whole long time out of this 49ers team. That was a legacy building win. Now, to further solidify that legacy building win, the 49ers need to continue winning. And the next step is the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions. The 49ers need to put on their big boy pants on run defense. Wasn't good enough, I think, what they did yesterday, if you apply it to what the Detroit Lions can do on run offense with Jahmyr Gibbs and a good play action attack behind a good offensive line. It is a strong Lions front on both sides of the football, and the 49ers are going to have to gear up and play. They're going to have a day rest advantage against Detroit, but it is certainly a compelling matchup featuring Jared Goff against Brock Purdy next week in the dry weather. All right, enjoy the next game. NFC Championship game is set. Lions and 49ers, there's your update. Why don't you go enjoy the Chiefs and the Bills?